this point, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the proposed zoning ordinance amendment. Which is what, 240? 249, which is an ordinance to amend North Cornwall Township zoning ordinance number 242 to add definitions, to revise regulations governing the agricultural district R2, high density residential district, and manufacturing district, to add regulations governing adult uses, to revise regulations governing planned residential developments, and to revise certain regulations applicable to all zoning districts.
And if I may, Mr. Chairman, I want everybody to understand, including the board, that I have advised Mr. Kelly that he should not vote on this amendment as it stands, because in a very slight way it affects the Springwood property in that it allows for adult uses in the C2. So to that extent, he could be in violation of what I consider to be a very broad provision in paragraph 2 of the order, which enjoins Mr. Kelly until further order of court from participating in any action involving or affecting Springwood or the Springwood property.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Okay.
I'm going to second. I'm going to second that motion.
May I have a moment?
Yeah. We're going to recess for an executive session. I'd like to call the meeting back to order, please. Yep.
I just need to say that I made a mistake. I didn't fully understand what was going on, and I'm not in a position to be able to second this amendment. And
So you rescind your
I
second.
rescind that second.
Okay. So there's a motion on the table to adopt the ordinance number 249. It needs a second to continue. Bill. What I would say to you is just that if you're concerned about certain parts of the ordinance, this ordinance fixes some pretty significant legal problems that we have in terms of, we've got some issues in our zoning that expose the township legally. This ordinance addresses those issues. If there are things that we need to work on, I think probably you and I would agree that there are some things that need to be addressed additionally. As I said earlier, I think this is a document that will evolve. So, I guess the question comes down to, are you willing to take it as is and work to amend it further and make some corrections, or do you want to just leave it?
Well, actually, I have a question for the Lebanon County Planning Department, for Mr. Meyer. How long, if we asked your department to take a look at section 3 and 4, which are making public and elementary schools, high schools, municipal buildings, churches, etc., non-conforming uses in the ag district. If we ask you to take a look at that, your department to look at that, how long do you need to address those issues and make a recommendation to the board?
First of all, sir, I appreciate the opportunity to discuss that with you. I'd like further clarification what you mean by looking at it. What type of investigation did you have in mind?
I think if the board were to consider changing some of the language in this ordinance, which would, as I understand it, require revisiting the planning commission with those changes prior to voting, how long would it take the planning commission to look at those changes? Is that basically the question?
Right, and to make a recommendation, should these uses remain conforming uses?